Yeah, just proud of the guys and the effort and the toughness that they showed this evening. Especially after the game we had on Saturday. These two guys right here sitting here, really proud of them because I challenged both of them this morning. I've been challenging him for a couple of days, but I challenged Lance, and they both answered the bell. This is about as good a win as I've had since I've been here at Georgia Tech, based on, the performance that we had on Saturday. And, the team is coming together, and it's weird because a lot of people in here haven't been around our team. But the people that have, I was saying it a long time ago, I felt like we could win with 5 guys, 6 guys. And, we've had injuries. But nobody on this team has wavered. Nobody has made that an excuse for what we can or can't do. So just proud of these guys. Looking over the whole big picture of the game. Even with Lowe, he had 25 points. He had 8 assists. But me as a former scorer myself, 25 points on 21 shots. We did what we needed to do to make him work in this game. And, Leggett, he had 20. But I just think between the two of them, although they had 45 points, I don't think it was the impactful 45 points that, they needed, or the dynamic 45. But we did a really good job. And you always try to trim points off the game, and so when I look at the stat sheet, because those two guys are the known, Graham and Austin, they're 2 guys that we talked about, and we wanted to make sure that we can kind of eliminate points. And between the 2 of those guys, they were 2 of 11 from the 3, and we did a good job. So just again, proud of these guys. It's not easy, and they've allowed me to coach them really hard, and we've come a long ways. This season, and we not done.
Let's go start with questions for the players so I can let them go shower. Kelly, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Lance, I know it's been a struggle since you hurt your hand or wrist or whatever it was. And just how did it feel to kind of get back into the groove a little bit, especially in the first half you had it going?
It feels good. I just have to continue to get my confidence back, just keep shooting. It feels good, so, that's the good thing about it. But, just keep playing hard.
Well, let me say this. He talked about his confidence. He played 40 minutes. He just got to shoot. Just got to shoot, man. Like, just got to shoot, baby. Just shoot it. Just shoot it. This guy right here, I'm jumping in because he brings more to the table than just scoring. Obviously, he's our leading scorer and he does a lot of things. But, the fact that he's playing and he's not 100%, that says a lot about who he is. And we know that. And so I'm going to acknowledge that every single time. Because you got a lot of kids today that they have a broken fingernail and they sit out. And this guy he hasn't done that. So I'm thankful to have guys like him on my squad.
Stay with the players.
Duncan, what got into you?
I was glad I got this game, but Coach Dane before the game he told me don't get in my own head. Last night I was with Darion's son, Nate Jordan, hotel. They was just telling me how good I am and how much they like playing with me. So, they know I'm real hard on myself. So, my team just breathed confidence into me the whole time for real. So, they told me to shoot it. They get mad at me when I don't shoot it. So, yeah, I get yelled at by Nate for not shooting it. So, I don't want to get yelled at. So, I shot it.
You gave it to the crowd at the end, too.
Yeah, because, everywhere we go, they talk about my haircut and all that. So, and I ain't had a haircut in like a month. So, I look crazy. But, yeah, so I like to interact with the crowd, especially on the road, because they troll me a lot, so I troll them back.
On those 4-point plays, was there ever a thought of putting the ball on the floor and attacking the closeout, or were you just...
Nah, because my name's a shag man, but, they also call me the corner man, because that's where I already sit at for real. So, if I catch in the corner, I'm going to shoot it every time, regardless.
Duncan, have you ever had multiple 4-point plays in a game in your career before?
Nah, I've only had one before, and that was at North Carolina A&T, and I couldn't even really shoot then. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy having 2 of them in the same spot, within 3-4 minutes of each other.
Lance, when Coach challenged you this morning, just what did you think about that challenge? And you had to sit on it all day and think about it.
I love it. you know, I would rather have a coach that challenges me than not. So, you know, he challenged me on the defensive end. So, you know, just going out there and trying to do better than what I've been doing and, you know, give more effort than what I was. So.
Anything else from players? Why don't you guys go shower? Thanks, guys. Yeah. All right, question for Coach.
Damon, they took the lead 59-58, tied it 67. You guys hung tough. I mean, that's got to make you probably more proud than anything. Yeah.
Man, yeah, we've we've gotten better in games down the stretch, and again, I'm gonna go back to because this game was similar, but we won this game. That Notre Dame game that we lost at Notre Dame, that was for me. And looking at this group of guys, it was a turning point because we led that game for 38 minutes, and I never seen that much disappointment collectively by the group, you know. And ever since then, you know, they've been locked in even more, and you know, I was just really proud that we made a lot of plays down the stretch, and you know, we made free throws. You know, that was huge. I mean, we haven't been shooting them great all season, but tonight, 25 for 28, you know, that's about as good as it get. And you know, it's just a collective effort. You know, again, those two guys played really well. You know, Bai rebounded the ball really well. You know, Mustaf Sutton, they did good in their time out there. But I thought growth. You know, you don't really. He won't get credit for this. But I thought Nate grew tonight from the standpoint of he didn't force things. He managed the game. He let the game come to him. He took shots that was there, and everybody else still ate. And I think that's a testament to him and his growth too.
How's Ibrahim? Obviously, got banged up early. Tried to go to start the second half. Was limping, and then
yeah, I think he'll be fine. But you know, as you know, that this just it's a tough spot to put someone in, and you know, I've had a messed up leg before, and I just didn't want to put him in that situation, and but I think he'll be fine. I don't, X-rays was good, they said, but I think he'll be fine, moving forward. But it just kind of goes into what's been happening all year, But we as a group, those guys, they found a way.
Have you won a game where you hit one field goal in the final 11 minutes of the game or something like that, and won, and it wasn't holding on, it was going back and forth with the free throws mostly, but that's really unusual stat.
Yeah, it is, but I think that both teams shot in the 20s, so it was a lot of attacking of the bucket, and it happens that way, but I didn't even really think about it. You just honestly, the biggest thing for me, especially when you playing a team like Pitt, where they're perimeter oriented, they're just trying to make sure you're locked in and you got the matchups right and you're doing the right thing. So, again, happy for these guys, man. It's about a bigger win as I've been around since I've been here at Tech.
Damon, what you were saying, there were a lot of times Pitt would make a run and then it would get to 4 or 3 and you guys would answer.
Yeah.
What allowed your guys to be able to make that type of play in those moments?
Well, I think it's by failure because we didn't do it earlier in the year, and I think that we've gotten better, over the course of this season, and I think that those guys, and honestly, I harp on it, because to me, you got to get your team to play hard, be connected, do all those things, and then you got to get them to play smart. You got to get them to play with toughness, and then you got to learn how to win, and so there were plays that we made, getting fouled and things of that nature where, honestly, we didn't do that earlier this season. You see a lot of carryover. You've seen growth in guys as the season started. Duncan didn't even play that much early in the season. Due to injuries, you were forced to play him, and so now he's able to find a rhythm and he's able to do different things. So there's just a lot that goes into it, and I think the confidence that these guys, shown down the stretch of this game is just, carryover for the things that they've been doing ever since we got back from Christmas.
Coach, you came into this game 4.5-point underdogs. How do you face adversity in the locker room and then onto the court, especially on the road?
Actually, it was 8.5. So it's funny you say that, right? And so most people, and I'd never in my life looked at point spreads until I worked for one of the Pittsburgh Panthers' finest, and that was Coach Miller when I was at Arizona. So you tried to trim points off the game. And so that's kind of like what I see. So when I see, like, we've been 8.5, 9-point underdogs to most of the teams in the league at the top. So how do you trim points off the game? That's the first thing I do. So you got to trim 9 points. That's what I say. So it's 3-possession game. That's how I look at the game, 3-possession game. So how do I trim that? So now I'm looking at Graham, and now I'm looking at Austin, because Lagan and Lowe average 16, so that's what they get on a bad day, right? So you're trying to trim points off. Corn, he's about 10, okay? So he's a big, he's going to catch a couple lobs, he's going to get some putbacks, might get a couple free throws, and you're trying to figure out how to trim points off the game. And Graham and Austin, that's what I did. So that wasn't your question. But since you said the point spread, I look at it because of things of that nature. I really do. But, again, the guys, they just did a good job, collectively. It's not and I had never played Pitt. I've never been here before in my life. I played Pitt when I was at Arizona, but it was at our spot, and this is a great environment, great gym, nice facility. So, I'm, again, just proud of the fellas for what they were able to come in here and do.
So the spread actually affects your mindset going into a game?
It doesn't affect my mindset. It just, there's a perspective in seeing that is more so what I'm saying. And so all it does for me is you're trying to think of how to trim points off the game anyway, That's all sports is, it's a deficit. So you're trying to figure out, where you can, who you can stop, who you can hold, and like I said, Graham, Austin, when you're looking at things like that, I'm just saying that's how I look at it. That for me is how I look at it. You got to trim those points off. So that's more so what I'm saying. That's all. It's not nothing more, nothing less. Just that's how I trim points off, because I do that as a coach anyway. I did it when I played, but I didn't look at it like that. As a coach, is first time I ever really thought about that. So
when you watched them on tape, did you think they were 9 points better than you?
I didn't. I really didn't know. Sometimes I don't take that. I don't take that into consideration. But when you watch them, you're just trying to trim points off the game. That's really all what I think about is, again, how can we trim points off the game and have guys that play roles and are stars in their role? How can we impact them from not being those players on that given day? And that's pretty much the same thing. No different than them with us, what I'm saying? And what BC did to us on Saturday, we had guys that didn't play as well as they usually play. So, BC probably does the same. Everybody has their own method to their madness, but that's just something that, I kind of internally just kind of think about and trying to trim points off the game.